Sad news in the world of alpha males. If you are an alpha, omega, sigma, centurion, transformer male, you will probably already know this. But one of the individuals of Fresh and Fit got. He is one of the founding members of the alpha male community. If you're not aware of, there's been a movement since Andrew Tate rose to fame where pretty much everyone started to become a clone of him, some to greater effect and some just to the point of making money. The advice they give on surface is not bad. Be a strong individual, make a lot of money, try to be strong and independent, but it ends up becoming a little bit more toxic and a little bit more self-congratulatory when they talk about how great they are and how bad you are, and that eventually they get to the point of talking about women with such disgust and such disdain that if you move it a couple of degrees to the left, they are zesty as all hell.
Yo, Myron is so fucking heterosexual. He's like, we don't need women to survive. I'm like, well, you know, life is better. He's like, we don't need them.
We don't.
Like, what's the point of living if there's no women?
I don't even need them to survive.
But there's no point in living, so you're not going to want to survive.
But you can survive without them.
Why would you survive if there were no women? Why would you even do it?
There's other ways to derive pleasure where you don't need females. Yeah, women are a luxury, bro.
So one of the prominent members of this community from Fresh and Fit, aka Mr. Myron and Walter, I'm not gonna lie, these dudes got the craziest white names for people who are not white, but I'll be honest, they are pretty much in tune with Uncle Ruckus because they both have said multiple times that they hate dark-skinned women. Why exactly, I'm not sure. They assume and say that the skin color is basically pejorative to individuals that eat hot Cheetos and give you attitude, but that's more so for another day. These individuals basically recently got under fire because one of the co-hosts, Mr. Walter over here, basically made the mistake of falling for a harlot. He basically did the age-old mistake, 808s and heartbreak. He essentially opened up his heart and he got played. He got into a relationship with a woman who people said looked like an escort, looked like a gold digger, looked like someone who was basically just trying to get his wallet. He ignored it. Fresh and Fit both said on their show that she was actually someone who was a great woman. She's a very high value. She's not a bad person. And he ended up actually having this woman meet his mother. He had her on the show. And it seemed to me like he basically walked like a fiance, talked like a fiance, and acted like a fiance. And yet, some way, somehow, the worst imaginable fear happened to this individual. Now, understand that the alpha male community, and Fresh and Fit specifically, repeatedly say that the best thing you could do is be independent, be strong, get married, have kids, live the American dream, white picket fence, contribute to society. But in all reality, their dream that they propose to you is their worst nightmare, because these dudes are absolutely positively terrified of having any type of responsibility, especially being a father. Now, when it comes to this woman, she ends up getting pregnant. And not only does she end up getting pregnant, she's like, listen, I think that we should have the baby. You and me have been in a good relationship. It seems like everything's working out. And Mr. Walter, he turns into Heisenberg. He said, don't call me Walter. I am the danger. I am Heisenberg. He tells her, you need to take a pill. You need to terminate the pregnancy. I can't do this. This is not good. I'm not ready for this. I'm only 40 years old. I don't want to have a baby yet. I'm still so young. Why would I do this? Why would you do this to me? And it ends up blowing up, and it ends up being a point of contention and an area for ridicule, because these individuals are people who say that they have 3-figure body counts, that they are basically the quintessential man whores of Miami, where they go around and say that we get all the women, we have the most experience. When it comes to talking to women, we know everything. When it comes to living with women, we know everything. Yet some way, somehow, one of the gosh darn founding fathers, Fresh and Fit, ended up getting got when he's supposed to be the expert. He is supposed to be the masterclass salesman who somehow got hit by an introductory amateur level got. Like, how do you get got by an amateur got? Like, that's like level 1. That is level 1. Do not impregnate a harlot. That is level 1. What does this guy do? Immediately go straight to it. And instead of him trying to own up to it, trying to take responsibility and say, you know what? At the end of the day, I'm gonna take Pusha T's advice. I'm gonna love this woman. I'm gonna make her my world. Yuck. She is someone who now becomes the enemy. She is someone who he says he definitely does not want to have a baby with her. I wouldn't know what he's thinking because he has not said anything, because recently his co-star, aka his boyfriend pretty much, had to come out and defend his boy Walter and say, listen, look here, listen, I am not joking, I am not playing. This woman is a harlot. This woman is of low stock. This woman is terrible. Do not listen to her. We will destroy her character and say that she needs to terminate this pregnancy because at the end of the day, all she wants is the money. Now, not only did this guy go on the show and have an absolute monumental mental breakdown, salt through the roof. He's making DSP look like an actual normal human being adult, where he is literally flipping out and having a conniption fit.
So you motherfuckers can say whatever the you want to say. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to stand by the guys that stand by me, because you fucking pieces of shit are fucking there when I'm going through it. You pieces of shit are fucking there when I'm fucking figuring out what the fuck I'm going to do because we got demonetized. You motherfuckers weren't there when everyone and their fucking mom came at us. You motherfuckers weren't there when I got the false accusation against me. You motherfuckers weren't there when this bitch lied and said that I got her pregnant when I fucking did it. And then you dumbasses 3 years later believe some bitch that makes the same fucking allegations again. You fucking idiots.
Because his friend, not even himself, his friend fell for an amateur level scheme, got one of the Puff Daddy exes pregnant, and now he's losing his mind because this hurts his brand. At the end of the day, if you're saying fresh and fit, we are the Sigma Omega males and that we do everything perfect. When it comes to our finances, 800 credit score. When it comes to our women, we use them as objects as you're intended to do. We don't love them, we leave them. And then your boy, who is supposed to be on the same level of you, someone who is an expert in this area of expertise, ends up falling for a level 1 threat. You basically are trying to say that you are a special grade individual and you fallen for a common curse. That is absolutely positively insane. Now, the funny thing about this is that Fresh and Fit have made a lot of enemies over the years. They cannot take criticism. They get upset and copyright strike people and try to destroy channels whenever people have criticized them in the past. And probably their biggest opposition has been Abba and Preach, who basically have come out in the past and said these guys are just talking out of their butt. They're not really saying of anything that's worth merit. I mean, the only way you're really going to fall for their, ideas and their ideologies is either if you're a 12-year-old or are an adult with a mind of a 12-year-old. And they basically came out recently and ethered them, in my opinion, because not only did they say that they're being immature, not only are they saying that they're not taking responsibility for their actions, they then had this woman on their show to talk about all these different allegations, talk about the relationship, and she had receipts. She had text messages where they're talking to each other saying, I love you, you're the best, I'm gonna marry you, you're gonna be my woman for life. You already met the parents. If you already met the parents, you're basically streamlined down the road for marriage, at least in most healthy relationships. I guess Fresh and Fit only see these women as objects, and the fact that they even have the right to tell them what to do is bricking their mind. Because listen, at the end of the day, you can have all this power, you can have all this independence, but the moment your cell enters her body and it creates a new being, you are going to get hit with an 18-year contract that you are forced to sign. And apparently Fresh and Fit are experts, so they already know that. I'm not going to explain that. But it seems to me like they are extremely upset at the circumstances that they're in. Now, the weird thing about this is that this woman basically says that in the past she had pregnancy scares and Mr. Walter didn't care. He's like, it is what it is. We'll work through it, blah, blah, blah. And what's funny to me is that Walter basically gave up his game early. And what I mean by that is that sometimes you have trick plays. If you play football, if you play a sport, you got some trick plays. You try to hit them with something crazy. You try to basically get in the opposition's mind where you're going to get that goal. You're going to get that touchdown. You are basically guaranteed the correct play in order to get that point. But unfortunately for Walter, he already fumbled the bag and let all his secrets out, because in the past, he would brag about saying that, even though he's an expert individual, he's made mistakes in the past, that he's actually gotten some women pregnant. And what he has to do is hit them with the Hail Mary. What's the Hail Mary? He pretends to love them. He pretends to say that we'll work through this. We're not ready for a baby right now. Get rid of the pregnancy, but in the future, when we get married, we can have a house, a family. It'll be great later. Not now, later. After they terminate the pregnancy, he breaks up with them and leaves. Now, Walter, the problem is you gave up your secrets. This woman seems to be not giving up. It seems to me like she knows all your tricks. You've given your bag of tricks away. There are no tricks available at this point in time. You are going to have the 18-year period where hopefully, as you raise this baby and they become an adult, maybe you too can learn from that experience. Maybe all the money you have all the free time you have, all the clout you have, maybe you can use that as a tool, a resource to grow yourself. Maybe you can contribute to society other than yapping professionally on a microphone. At the end of the day, this is what happens when you let pride with your head. Walter got too high on his own supply. He thought he was infallible, that he could make no mistakes. And at the end of the day, he fumbled the bag. And for Myron, his boyfriend, I would give him a piece of advice. He is losing his mind. He's having a conniption fit. In my opinion, he's someone who grew up as a Muslim. Myron, go back to Islam. Pretend like Ramadan is happening all over again. Fast for 30 days. Try to get that hate and toxicity out of your system and turn to God. You need God right now. At this point in time, you are not going to scream your way out of this bag. You're going to have to bow down and pray for forgiveness and hope by some miracle that this woman turns into a decent mother, because this woman actually said, I want the baby, I want the relationship, but I'm not really hot on monogamy. I'm not really big into monogamy. Why would I just settle for one guy when I could trick a lot of fools? So listen, Myron, Walter, hopefully you guys work this out. At the end of the day, I think you guys should do two things. Either one, humble yourselves and turn to God, or two, just be honest, come out of the closet, say that you're mad because your boyfriend now has a girl pregnant, so you're not going to have enough time to play with each other. At the end of the day, this is hilariously sad on multiple levels, but the only reprieve I have is that because their fan base are individuals who subscribe to the ideology and not the people, they have started calling these people out saying, you're supposed to be an expert. How do you fumble the bag in this manner? How are you someone who is a quote unquote genius, someone who's so independent, yet you make a entry level mistake? So it seems to me like, unfortunately for them, not many people are buying the BS that they're selling. And it seems like they have no legs to stand on. And by not even acknowledging the situation and continually getting mad and angry, they're basically just making themselves look like larger and larger clowns. And it's unfortunate that people who are in such a public space for such a long time don't really have a handle of their self-image.
At the end of every single video, make sure you ask people to rate and subscribe to your content. It makes them feel like they're involved even though they're really not. And most importantly, make sure they comment on every single video. If you have to, disguise it. You know, call it something like the question of the day. And really make them think you're gonna really read it when you really don't have to. Ha ha ha!